Chris, this was a
Julio?
huge week, massive announcement, and something we've all been wanting to hear for a long time. We got a trailer for Jackass Forever.
We did. Dude, Knoxville looks so fucking old. I think that's a bit. I think that's a bit like he maybe for like a quarter of the movie, he's got like super gray hair, but he looks hella old.
It's one of those things where like you don't think about him, and then when you just see all of them together and you just hear their stupid laughs, you're like, ah, shit. All right, I'm excited. I can't wait. I'm gonna go see it in theaters night one.
I didn't think they would do one because they said that they weren't going to after Dunn died, but I'm so happy that they did. And now, dude, the skit where Aaron is trapped with the bear, that's gonna be. I can't wait to see that. That's
dude, I've watched the trailer a few times. The one that I keep dying laughing at is when the softball player just like drills whoever the new guy is in the nuts, and it's just goes like fist pump. I can't wait. Anyways. It's us jackasses now.
Yeah. It's back to just the two of us, not the three of us or four of us. Sorry, anymore. I'm Chris Magical. That's Julio Reynoso. This is a Tailgate podcast, brought to you by Around the Diamond Podcast Network. So big episode this week. I think what most of you want to hear, we're going to give you the people that give the people what they want. They want to hear us react to the stadium situation, which we will. We commented a little bit on it on our Twitter feed, but we'll go into more detail on our thoughts. Again, we want to reiterate for the listeners out there, we are not economists. We are not real estate investors or moguls or agents. We are not construction experts. We are not politicians. So we are not experts on this matter, but we are fans of the A's. We've done a lot of research. We've read a lot of pieces on people who are much smarter than us. So we feel like we have a pretty educated opinion on the matter, and we are going to share it regardless of how, if you feel a different way, we respect that, but we will give you our 2 cents and maybe shed some light that you have not seen. And maybe for some of you, like my Uncle Mike is going to be listening to this episode. He's very excited. He's tuning in so that he can hear information about that because he doesn't want to scroll through Twitter and try to figure out what's fact or fiction. So, and if we can inform you, great.
To the best of our state college education needs.
Exactly.
Again, just reiterate, we're not experts. We're literally just that clip of SpongeBob where Patrick Star is like in a lab coat looking at like a beaker. That's us.
Yeah.
But also, we got a couple huge series coming up. We're going to talk about those a little bit later. We got major outfield problems. We got some, but we have major outfield problems. We're going to get to it.
Yeah.
But in typical fashion, Chris, the big three, if we thought our problems were worse, it could be worse. You could be every single team in the National League East.
Dude, what is going on with that division? Because like I remember when we did the exercise with the Schlatters in our preseason predictions and rankings, we thought it was going to be a slugfest, but this is like the opposite of a slugfest. This is like, I can't think of a good analogy right now, but it's kind of like pathetic.
Yeah, it's a mess. It's an absolute mess. So we're going to try to keep it as simple as possible. What's going on each team, and because every single team is a giant clusterfuck.
So I'm not. So I've heard just before you start, because I want to reflect on these records. Like the Mets are in first, and they have 50 wins, the lowest first place team in all of baseball by a lot, by 6 games. And everyone else is 500 or below. So if I was a betting man, I would say one team makes it out of this division, Julio. And on top of that, I've heard the argument plenty times in the past. Like I think it was 2018 where the NL Central was like a bunch of heavy hitters, and everybody thought like, oh, like it's going to be a slugfest. And we're halfway through the season, and those teams were underwhelming like this. They weren't quite this bad, but they were significantly lower, but they were all kind of around 6 games apart. And they're significantly lower than the other divisions, other good teams in the league. And from an NL Central fan, I heard of a fan of a team. I heard, well, all those teams are so good, they just beat up on each other and they have to play each other all year, so their record's not going to reflect that. But watch these teams in the playoffs. I think there's 2 teams that made it, and they both got knocked out in the first round. So like, I'm not a believer of the theory that their record is not good because they're beating up on each other. No, their record's not good because they're not good. Like, I mean, I'm sure. I mean, we could look at their interdivision win-loss and their outer division, and it would probably reflect that.
It's each team is to put it in Sims references, my favorite show of all time. Each team is pretty much like the softball episode, and each team is one of the baseball players that gets something really unfortunate, weird happens to them.
Yeah.
Let's start from the top. The Mets, they're in first place, 7 games of 500. They've actually they haven't lived up to the expectations. Jacob deGrom's been excellent. He's been going to be the Cy Young winner again. He's hurt right now. But the rest of the rotation's been really good. Marcus Stroman's kind of came into his own. Taijuan Walker was an all-star. They really have kind of picked it together with their rotation, but it's the same thing that's been going on for some time. What Mets fans can tell you is their lineup is not living up to the expectations. Francisco Lindor's been terrible. Straight up, he's been terrible as a Met right now. Dwight Smith Jr. had a really good year last year, and he has been great. Pete Alonso, he's going to get you the pop, but like this team just is not there offensively.
Jack McNeil has been on and off the field, and he was their young stud a couple of years ago who had a lot of prospect.
And then you got the Phillies, who more or less the Yankees East kind of way. Great offense on paper. Rotation's been pretty fine for most of the part. Zach Wheeler was an all-star. He's been tearing it up this year. He's going to be a Cy Young finalist. But these assholes are not vaccinated. There's been just this last couple weeks ago, you had Alec Baum, who was finished second in MLB or in NL Rookie of the Year votes last year. You have Aaron Nola and a few other guys all testing positive for COVID. And then stories have come out that like less than half of the players have been fully vaccinated. Whereas majority of teams by this point, I think far more, like I'd say probably 80-90% of the teams have met the 85% threshold to kind of lift those parameters. They still haven't lifted it because these guys keep getting hurt.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, but that's the point. It's like, look, I'm tired of this conversation, but at the end of the day, if you're in an environment like this, where like you can't consistently do your job because you're losing guys because of whatever their preferences are, that's unacceptable, man. And that's my point. But
when you watch the games, but Julio, when you watch the games, which teams are 85% or not, because the requirement for the MLB is if you're not 85%, you have to wear masks in the dugout. So it's pretty obvious to which teams, can't get their players to turn around. Look, I think it's a bad. I mean, it's obviously, it's a big deal no matter what, because we're trying to get the world back to normal. But I think it's a pretty telling sign for the anti-vaxxers out there. And I know we kind of have this reputation of being a woke podcast, but whatever. Yeah, sorry, get over it. I think it's a bad sign for the anti-vaxxers when Sean Hannity has changed his opinion on the matter, has gone on his show blatantly against everybody on his network to say that people should get vaccinated. I would say that's a pretty bad sign for if you're in the other camp, but I digress. There's more issues for more teams in this league. Keep going. Or this division. Keep going.
There's probably the biggest crash of them all right now, even though they still think they're in it.
I cannot believe this one.
Okay, so the Atlanta Braves. Let's start from the very beginning of the season. What's happened to them? 3 of their absolute young, like stud pitchers last year with Max Fried, Ian Anderson, and Mike Soroka all hurt.
Yeah.
They either haven't pitched at all or have been hurt this whole entire time. We've barely seen them on the field. And then Marcell Ozuna, who was one of their best players last year. If there was an all-star game there, he would have been an all-star. He gets a pretty catastrophic, I believe. I can't remember what his exact injury was again. But during that time when he's injured, we talked about it, beat his wife,
I was going to say he beat his wife. That's why he's not back. But yeah, he did get injured.
On top of that, yeah. So on top of that, yeah. And then you lost arguably one of the best players in baseball, if not the best player in baseball. Ronald Acuna tears his ACL right before the All-Star game. And despite all that, because of how bad this division is, they still think they're in it. And they made the moves to be in there. They took Jock Pederson from the Cubs, who we were both really wanted the A's to try to make a move on him. We need a lefty outfield bat. We'll talk more about that later. And then they also made a trade for former Oakland great Stephen Vogt, who deserves that term. But it's like, it seems like too little too late, man. Like
fucking legend, walk-off single, 2023, game 2, ALDS, legend. Anyway, keep going.
Yeah, but absolute train wreck. This team that was supposed to be, they should have been the clear favorite for some people in this division, and they haven't been. And I want to put the A spin on it, and want to kind of go against all these Bowmel haters for most of the part. This team's been hurt. They've lost their best player. They've lost a lot of their starters, and it shows, man. They're 2 games below 500 in a pretty crap division, right? But I guarantee if you put Bob Melvin in this position, they would still be above 500 team, if not in first place. Because guess what? That's what happened to them last year when they lost Matt Chapman.
Who's their manager?
I want to say Brian Snichter.
That's a fun name.
Snichter.
So they're 8 games back in their division. They're also 8 games back in their wild card. So they must have confidence that Fried, Soroka, and or oh my god, I'm totally blanking on the third guy. Who's the third guy?
Fried, Soroka, and Ian Anderson.
They must have some confidence that those guys are coming back or part of them, because 8 games is a lot to overcome, even in this shit division. 8 games no matter what. So
my bad. Max Fried is on the team right now.
Okay.
He has a 4.29 ERA.
4.29?
Correct.
Wow. He was so good last year. What the fuck happened?
Yeah. I think he's still young. They're just gonna come around.
Sophomore slump, maybe.
But yeah, it was Brian Snichter, but also a couple of former Oakland greats on that coaching staff. Ron Washington, Walt Weiss. What?
Oh, maybe he'll take that job. Oh, Walt Weiss. Really? That's cool.
Yeah. Next, Nationals. Juan Soto's been hurt. He's come back. He's starting to catch fire. But Steven Strasburg has been out majority of the season. Max Scherzer, you can attest to it. He's been on and off with injuries as well. And then Patrick Corbin just fell off a fucking bus.
And Starlin Castro just got kicked off the team because he beat his girlfriend or wife or whatever it is, and that franchise ain't having it. So,
and then the guy who was like their kind of best player while Soto was struggling, Kyle Schwarber, hurt. So, and last but not least, the Marlins. Not much really to say about them. Young guns. Their arms are really killing it for them. But also their offense is killing them. I want you.
Hey, listeners, let me give you a little stat here that I looked up while we were prepping for this podcast today. So this is why they suck, and this is exactly the reason to what Julio was just saying. The Marlins offense is 27th in the league in runs scored, with 372 runs scored. 27th out of 30 teams, they score the 3rd least runs in the league. But their pitching is the 8th best ERA in all of baseball. 8th. So they are a top 10 pitching team, and they are a bottom 5 offensive team. That's why they suck. and their pitchers are like young. They have a rookie, and then they have a couple second-year guys who have a shit ton of promise, but it's brutal. Their offense is pretty much just Starlin Marte.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, so it's like Trevor Rogers was their lone all-star rookie. pitcher. He's been really good this year. Yeah. Sandy Alcantara, Pablo Lopez. They're all good. This is going to be 3 years down the line. I think that they're going to be the team to beat in this division.
Yeah.
But yeah, their offense sucks, man. They're 1-2, which is really weird because I brought this up to you earlier. 1-2 in RBIs in the National League are Jesus Aguilar and Adam Duvall, both on the Marlins. And it just shows you the rest of the team is just so bad they can't even cover it. And so this is a really depressing topic.
They're really hard to watch too, Leo. That there's this new thing on MLB.TV called Big Inning, which is like Red Zone for baseball. I was watching last night. It's fucking tight. I love it. So they had the Marlins game on there for a little bit, and it's tough to watch them play baseball. It's like watching a high school team.
Now, Chris, we're both betting men. You got to pick one team to take this division. Who do you got?
Oh man, that's a tough one. If Ian Anderson and Mike Soroka are coming back, I like the Braves because I think that Freddie Freeman can get out of his funk for at least 2 months for them to make a run. But I don't know. So you want to say the Mets have a lot of star power, but they kind of don't have a lot of star power. Like they have a lot of star power because they have a lot of famous people on their team. And I think that's the best way I can explain it because it's New York. So like Pete Alonso gets a lot of love because he's the star that plays in New York. But there's no one else on their offense that I really trust, especially not Lindor anymore. There's just no one reliable there, but they're pitching so good. I don't know. Yeah, there's too much talent on Atlanta. Ozzie Albies, Freddie Freeman. Even without Ozuna, they have like a lot of depth too. I like them. If they can get their starters back, I like them.
So I forgot they got Tanner Roark. Mike Soroka is like done because he's coming back from that Achilles.
The second year.
Well, because he tore his Achilles.
He's still out, right? He's still out from last year.
So he's not going to be coming back up. Ian Anderson.
That's right. Totally blanked on that one.
Was pitching. And he was actually pitching throughout the year. So I'm going to fact check myself and say, sorry, folks, for that one. But he hasn't kind of lived the hype.
I thought I saw him on MLB.TV like a month ago in a game. But I was like, oh, maybe I'm wrong.
But there's a lot of stuff that's going to be going on.
Oh, they're 4.5 out of their division.
I'm going to say, because you can never count them out, the Nationals. And take a swig of my beverage real quick. Brought to you by Lagunitas. Anyways, I think they still have a fighter's chance in it because you have easily the best player in that whole division there with Juan Soto. If Kyle Schwarber comes back healthy and you can keep hitting the way he was before he got hurt, that's great. Max Scherzer is starting to kind of heat up again. He's staying healthy. And then Strasburg, he's been on and off this whole entire. He's been more or less injured this whole season. And if he can come back and be anywhere effective, you still have a lot of that core team who's in there. Trey Turner has been awesome throughout the year. I'd still think
is always awesome.
Yeah, I think they still have a pretty good chance of taking this division at the end of the day because it's anybody's division except the Marlins. But
you answered it, but I was just going to ask you and do a fun exercise. Who do you think is the best player in this division?
Yeah, Soto.
You just said you think it's Soto. So I would argue that it's Jacob deGrom, but unfortunately in baseball you need offense. Pitchers.
So Jacob deGrom, he rakes.
Well, what?
No, like for a pitcher, he like hits.
Yeah, but really you need a player that plays every day in order to, I think, get you through this. So you think it's Juan Soto? I would think that it's a very close second. Would be Freddie Freeman, but definitely not this year. Yeah, you're right. Maybe Juan Soto can will them through. They're 6 games back in their division, 9.5 back in the wild card.
Frederick.
When does so Scherzer's they really need Corbin to get back to some version of form,
Yeah, that's the big if. But, let's stop talking about mediocre baseball. Let's talk about some pretty damn good baseball. You know what? Giants fans will listen to this. Hey, guess what, guys? This is your moment. We're talking about your team. One of the biggest rivalries in baseball.
You're welcome, Uncle Mike.
Yeah, there you go, Mike. Mike. I don't say it like that. But anyways, Giants-Dodgers series is going on now. We both have it on the background. It is currently 3-2 Giants in the top of the ninth.
Kenley just hit a home run off of Kenley in the ninth. It was pretty intense.
Oh boy.
But they're in LA, so they get a last at bat. So we'll see what's up.
Yeah, it's been an awesome series so far.
Yeah. My Giants fan friends are always like, how can you not talk about how good the Giants are doing? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, because there's just other shit to talk about. Like, and I gave an example. It was like a couple weeks ago. I was like, well, the big story of this week is the All-Star game. So we're not going to talk about the Giants, like things like that. I don't know. So you're welcome.
Kevin Gausman, man. What you talking about?
I like Kevin Gausman. I like him. He's dope. He's
anyways, game one was Monday. It was a 7-2 Giants game. Pretty easy peasy game for them. And then last night, Will Smith, Big Willie style, was the hero. Hit a 3-run walk-off to get the win for the Dodgers. This has been awesome. It's been some really good baseball between two really, really good teams.
This is a series that I've been watching full games all the way through. I always like to kind of put the Dodgers on every once in a while when I can get them. I typically don't watch the Giants. I'll tune in every once in a while and see some highlights, but I've been watching these full games through because they've been good ones. And I mean, it's more or less a battle for first. I mean, the Dodgers are one game back. Yeah. So if they win today, they're tied for first, which Wilmer Flores just got walked. So
it's Donovan Solana.
That looked like Flores. I'll take your word for it, but all right. Anyway. So yeah, that's what makes this series so interesting. But yeah, I just think that these two teams are the two best teams in baseball, so they deserve their credit, in my opinion. That's also why I wanted to talk about them. Chris Taylor is having an insane year. I did not see that coming. The Dodgers pitching is kind of weird, right? There's nothing.
They're hurt.
There's no one really they're still trying to figure it out. But even the guys that are healthy, they're not really convincing this year. I wonder what that is.
Walker Buehler's been awesome. I don't know what you're talking about. Walker's been pretty kick-ass. Kershaw was pitching good.
Yeah.
Not he's not going to, I don't think we're ever going to see vintage Kershaw anymore, but he still pitched pretty good, and he's hurt right now. Trevor Bauer was good, but then, punch. Dustin May, Tommy John, Julio Urias has been awesome.
Yeah, Urias has been really good. That's true.
So all right. There are some rumors that the Dodgers are going to be pretty aggressive at the trade deadline with getting some starters. Because at the end of the day, it's look, the Giants aren't going anywhere. And there are rumors that I think the Giants are definitely going to be some big-time players. There are rumors of them going after Starling Marte from the Marlins. They're definitely going to get some bullpen arms, especially after we saw last night. It's going to be interesting, but I think it's at the end of the day, man, the Dodgers are still pretty beat up. They're missing Corey Seager. Mookie's been whatever. Cody Bellinger's been a massive disappointment this season.
Yeah.
And if they get those guys back, I think this is still their division to win. But
he's like that though, dude. Cody Bellinger, he'll have one good season, then he'll have an average, above average one, and then he'll just completely shit the bed. And then he has an MVP season. It's just it's a weird little pattern that he does.
Now you can make the same argument for the Giants though. Evan Longoria is going to be coming back pretty soon. Former Oakland great Tommy La Stella, he's been getting some BP in. He's been out this whole season, but he's going to be coming back pretty soon and actually playing out there for the Giants. So Buster Posey was out. He's back. Brandon Crawford's back. Dude, if you can put Starling Marte in the outfield, you put him out there with Yastrzemski and then Alex Dickerson in left. And if you can put an infield of Longoria, Crawford, La Stella, and then have a rotation of guys at first, whether it's like Jason Vosner or Brendan Belt and Posey. Damn, man. That's a really good unit. And then Joey Bart. We've been hearing Joey Bart fucking for the last 3 years.
I still don't think he comes up this year, man. I really don't. I don't see it.
He came up last year for a minute. Maybe at least some reps, but like, yeah, I think this is they're not a joke. And it's just the only thing that makes it so weird is there's nobody besides Kevin Gausman and then Brendan Crawford where you're just like scared. Where you're like, oh, I don't want to see that guy.
Buster is hitting 320 something. I mean, like I would be pretty afraid of him if I was a opposing pitcher. And Yaz is starting to, arguably the best player, starting to put it together now. I mean, dude's got 15 home runs. He's missed half the season. He's hitting like 220 something. But I mean, you would think that'll go up a little bit.
I did it, folks. I got Chris to say some nice things about the Giants.
That'll be the end of it. So I'm looking at
actually here to wash that off. Say a bad thing about Giants fan. Real quick.
I mean, half of them don't even know who's on this team. So, like, I was hanging out with Giants fans this past weekend, and one of them just immediately, the first thing just comes in extra hot on me. What it is about, Giants fans, for real, what it is about you guys and just, like, coming in, like, super hot with the first statement? Like if you want to ask my opinion on some baseball things, like, just fucking ask my opinion. You don't have to, like, so this dude comes up, he goes, so is it going to be the Portland A's or the Vegas A's? I just go, what? Like, whoa, dude. Like, all right, that's a little bit of a sensitive subject, and you're kind of jumping the gun there. And I was like, do you know that your team was dealing with a relocation situation back in 1992? I bet you don't even know that. Do you know that the A's were this close to being the Tampa Bay A's? And then, like, my other friends.
Oh, the Giants, Tampa Bay Giants.
Tampa Bay Giants. And my other friend was like, whoa, man, like what don't be so defensive. I'm like, dude, you fucking came in just like with all the smoke on me, and you're gonna get all mad when I come back. Like, don't throw it at me if you don't expect to get it back. That's all I'm saying. Let's go. So I want to talk about the Dodgers real quick.
Go dry clean your Patagonia. Anyways, go on.
I want to talk about the Dodgers real quick. So would you say that they're probably looking for like a heavy hitter, like starting pitcher to replace Bauer? Because there's not any really big guns. Maybe Kyle Gibson, you could argue, is that, but there's not any like real like blow them out of the water like moves to be made for a starter.
That's a fucking excellent fit for the Dodgers would be Kyle Gibson.
I agree.
Yeah, I would really love that for them if they were to pull that off. I know there are some rumors about the reunions with Kenta Maeda. The obviously very rumors. I know some people are like, if the Nats fall out and they want to just sell Max Scherzer and they can, I feel like they'd be a big team who would try to go after them.
Yeah, I can see that.
But yeah, dude, that's a Kyle. I think that if I had to do my hot take right now, yeah, I could see Kyle Gibson as a Dodger, especially if I think he's on a contract year. So it's like, if this Bauer thing kind of blows over, I don't think it's going to, then cool. This is kind of our rental guy. We have Bauer for the rest of the time, but we'll see.
He was spotted hiking in Zion with his, I guess she's his agent. No one really even knows anymore. Not too long ago. So he's hiking. That's what he's doing.
Yeah. Well, he can go take a hike up Dick Mountain. Anyways,
let's move on.
Let's end some positive news. Let's move
on to the last big three. A celebration of women. Ladies and gentlemen, we had the first ever all women's broadcast for a Major League Baseball game. It was the YouTube game of the week, which for those of you who don't know, because maybe you're at work and you don't realize it, every Wednesday, YouTube does a game of the week. It's typically a day game. It's nationally televised on YouTube. Anybody can watch it. MLB Network kind of puts it on, and that was the game this week. It was broadcast by Melanie Newman, she is a broadcaster for the Baltimore Orioles organization. She did the play-by-play with Sarah Langs, who was the analyst. Alana Rizzo was the on-field reporter, and the pregame show was hosted by Heidi. How do you say her last name? Watney?
Heidi Watney and Lauren Gardner.
And Lauren Gardner. I have a massive crush on Lauren Gardner, by the way. I just want that to be known for the listeners. It was cool. I mean, I didn't watch it because it was on. This was actually a night game. Night-ish. It was on like 4 p.m. Pacific time. Because it was on during the NBA Finals. But me and Julio watched some highlights, and I will say it was pretty impressive. Melanie Newman is great. How she doesn't have a play-by-play job is insane to me because she was so good.
No, timeout. She does you said she does for Baltimore, right?
But I think I believe she's an on-field. She's like a sideline reporter. I could be wrong, but I don't really watch.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Orioles games for.
Yeah, she does play-by-play.
Well, great. She's good at it. So that's awesome. Yeah, it was interesting. Your thoughts, Julio?
One, awesome. Absolutely love it. It reminded me of this tweet that was going viral because there's nothing more toxic than basketball fans of like, oh, who is your go-to basketball commentator? And it was like the worst of the worst. It was like Mark Jackson, Kendrick Perkins, Nick Wright. Like, no. And everyone's like, Doris Burke, obviously. Like, obviously it's them. So I didn't.
Someone said Mark Jackson, really?
Or it was like a pyramid, like you pick one of them, whatever.
People don't say enough how good Steph Curry is. I mean, one day he's gonna be one of the greats.
Hand down, man down.
I mean, that's a foul. Mark, that's a foul. Okay, Mark, why is it a foul? It's a foul.
Hey, Mark, what do you think about hot Cheetos? Like, what's the deal? There's kids in the locker rooms. They're just
people don't talk enough about hot Cheetos. I'm telling you. One day we're gonna see in the Hall of Fame the greatness of the hot Cheetos.
Mama,
okay, we can move on.
There goes the Cheetos. Anyways, the whole point of saying this is like, women have been ignored in sports for. Yeah, I hate us. I'm sorry, guys. Women broadcasters, women analysts have been kind of ignored for a long time.
Yeah,
unfortunately, Doris Burke is an absolute legend when it comes to basketball. She's easily the smartest person in every conversation she has. In every play-by-play, and I think that's something.
She's very upfront and very honest about it. She's not afraid to call out inefficiencies like a lot like Jeff Van Gundy. But anyway,
yeah, exactly. And I think that's something that I think as basketball fans, everybody loves her. Everybody absolutely appreciates her because she's one, if not the best, she's one of the absolute best at what she does. And the whole reason I'm bringing it up is it's like we have the same talent in baseball.
Yeah.
We obviously, you talk about Melanie Newman. She's been doing play-by-play for the Orioles I think she started last season. She's doing it this year. What I want to start seeing come out of this.
Announced she was a member of the Orioles broadcast team.
I would love to start seeing more of an actual effort to not have them being the only people who are to do this. Start establishing some more avenues that allow for women who already, because let's be real, in baseball, if you want to be a woman in broadcasting, you're either going to be doing the pre-show or the on-field stuff. You're rarely in the booth. You need to start having better ways of building that pipeline to eventually build them into that space. And I'm hoping this is the start of it all. But that being said, MLB, come on, you got to give it a better game than the Rays and the Orioles. The hell is this?
Hold on, I just want to touch on your last thing. I do feel like a hypocrite though because I hate Jessica Mendoza, but I also hate her.
Agreed. Yeah.
Her job. It's not because she's a woman. It's because she's not good at her job. Where this broadcast, it was talent all around. It was a lot different. It was great. It was great.
In her defense, ESPN broadcast outside of Matty V is a total train wreck.
No, I mean Alex Rodriguez has that job, and Alex Rodriguez is not a in-game guy. He should have stayed. He should have stayed in the studio because he's great in the studio. His relationship with Big Papi and Keith Hernandez, they're funny. They give you really good brief analysis, which is what you want in a pregame and postgame show. You don't want long deep dives into how pitching works and shit like that. Alex Rodriguez in the game is so fucking boring. I mean, it's just. I
used to play quarterback in high school. You know, I could have gone pro.
Yeah, he's terrible. Anyway, what were you gonna say?
Oh, that was it. Just more of this, please.
Yeah, that was great. But and also a better game than the Rays and Orioles. But I was saying to Julio before this, I mean, they probably did the Orioles because Melanie Newman is the Orioles broadcaster, so it made sense. All right, moving on to A's news. This weekend, a little bit disappointing. We only won one of 3 series to the Cleveland baseball team. A little unfortunate, but we did sweep the Angels in 2-game sweep this Monday and Tuesday, so that's good. Sorry, John, but your Angels suck. Julio Schwindel Schwing DFA'd.
It's no longer time to get Schwindy.
Yeah. You know, he lasted a couple weeks, which is cool, and he did his job-ish, but
home run in his first at bat. We're all gonna remember that. But DFA picked up by the Cubs. Best of luck. Hope you get Schwindy over there.
I mean, the fact that
in the Schwindy City. Hey, look at that.
That was good. Couple of Schwindys cutting it up. I mean, the fact that the only reason why he made this team is because of the insane injuries that we're having. So, like, when he came up, I remember I texted you like, "Who is this guy? Like, where did he come from?" So it is what it is. This is going to be the funnest subject of this segment.
Not really. But go on.
Right, fun was a poor choice of words. Most interesting. So Chris Berman, the new athletics beat writer, took over for Alex Coffey, aka he is the Bay Area sports guy. That's where he came to fame. Had BayAreaSportsGuy.com, and then the Athletic picked him up. He's also the co-host of the Candlestick Chronicles for Blue Wire podcast with my homeboy Kyle Madsen. Shout out Kyle, Sac State alumni. He wrote an interesting piece, more or less saying that the A's, it's time for them to move on from Stephen Piscotty, hometown hero. We all love the guy. He had an amazing season 2018. I don't know, Julio. I would agree with him, but I think you would as well.
Yeah. So the headline of the article is just saying, like, even with Canada back, that it's a major glare that, like, they need outfield help, big time. And towards the back of the article is when he kind of starts talking about the Piscotty situation, because we hate to kind of talk about this, hometown guy, everything he's done for ALS organizations and everything his family's had to go through.
And that was such a magical year in 2018. Mm-hmm. Like, just he came back.
Yeah, when they traded for him.
The teams did like a really great thing. They traded for him, bring him home. He had an amazing season. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was awesome that year. I want to say he hit something like
27 home runs, 267 batting average.
Yeah, or 267. Yeah, that's awesome. The wrist injury after that, and he hasn't been the same guy since. You realize it hasn't come through. There's something about A's players with wrist injuries that really cursed him. Yeah. But he brought up the point, like, this might be time where if you have to make a move for somebody, and you need to kind of put somebody on the chopping block, he might be the guy. If that does happen, though, there is a buyout. The buyout will be a little pricey. He's going to be making close to $7.6 million next year, and then there's a $1 million buyout in 2023, so it's not going to be cheap. So pretty much your best option is, if you're going to get an upgraded outfield, you're going to have to throw him along with that. But it's like, who's going to want him? So you have to really up the price, or you really have to throw on some guys who want them.
But why can't you keep him and he can be the fourth outfielder? That's what I don't get. He's a relatively, for what he was when he signed that contract with the Cardinals and what we got out of him in 2018, he's a pretty cheap, team-friendly deal. And we got him for insanely cheap in 2018, 2019, the years when he was somewhat successful. So why not just keep him? He's a better option than Seth Brown.
All right, let's play this game real quick. Steven Piscotty. Okay, let's say we got a third outfielder, and we're going to talk about our third guy, everyday guy. And we'll talk about our options afterwards. So this is a fourth outfield spot. So Steven Piscotty or Seth Brown? You say Piscotty.
Yes.
Agreed. Piscotty, Tony Kemp.
Well, Tony Kemp's utility.
Besides the point.
So Steven Piscotty because he's got an arm. He's a better defender.
Okay, Piscotty, Chad Pinder.
Chad Pinder.
Okay.
But Chad Pinder's hurt right now. We don't know.
Yeah,
when he's
but yeah,
back. That means Tony Kemp is the go-to utility guy. He plays wherever you need him. Pinch hit. But in there, blah blah blah. So, who's our fourth outfielder now? Seth Brown. Cool. He fills that spot. That's my logic,
but
that's my logic right now because the trade deadline is now. The trade needs to happen now. We need to get a guy right now.
Yeah.
So then next.
Well, what's going to happen in?
What's going to happen? What?
Well, let's say mid-August, Pinder comes back, right? So now you're going to have your three everyday outfielders, who Ramon, Canna, Mike Trout, and then you're gonna
fucking right.
And then your everyday infield, you got Chappie, Elvis, Jed Kemp, and Ollie, and then you have Pinder, who's going to be kind of the roaming wherever you need him to play. And then you're going to have the two catchers. I think the math off the top of my head, that's 11 players right there. And then you have to have your remaining 16 guys are going to be a rotation of 10. So it's like, I'm just saying, like, I would, of all those guys I named off, the only guy I'd rather have would be Seth Brown. Okay. Or I would rather get rid of would be Seth Brown.
Okay. So Jacob Wilson is on the roster right now. So
yeah,
in theory, Pinder comes back. He takes that spot. Seth Brown is still on the roster. We get a new guy, the actual third outfielder. He takes Seth Brown's spot. So Piscotty's still on the roster as the fourth outfielder. And then you have Pinder and you have Tony Kemp as the rotating utility players.
See, that's the thing, though. Even if you just compare, I hate to say this, like Seth Brown and Piscotty's stats, like Seth Brown's still better.
It feels like every time Seth Brown has a big at bat, when you need him to get a hit, he strikes out.
Yeah, but he's a rookie.
He's a fucking 28-year-old rookie. He's 29. He's 198. He's got 11 home runs. Great, but he's hitting 198.
Here, let's do
he struck out 54 times this season. I mean, Piscotty's going to do better than that, and he's going to play better outfield.
Okay,
when he's in the outfield, it's like it no one runs on us.
Okay, what'd you say Seth Brown's batting average was?
198.
Cool. Piscotty's 196.
How many games?
Playing time. But yeah, dude, I'll straight up say this. I think if you put them in the same amount of games played, seeing how Piscotty's been this year and seeing how he was for a good chunk of last year, I still think Seth Brown might be the better option. I don't want to say that.
The veteran experience also doesn't come into play with you at all?
I mean, kind of. At this point, you could. Well, because look, okay, all right. So the rumor is also too that
the Giants won 4-2.
Oh wow, good for them.
Took the series 3 games 1. Anyway,
good for them, not. But also he's not the best outfielder, but Mitch Moreland plays outfield too. So
I don't know, man. I guess we have to get someone first to really have this conversation legit. But it's you put him in a trade package. I just don't know how lucrative that is. It's dumping the contract, but I don't know who would want to take that. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Interesting piece of writing, though, Berman. I will tell you, I enjoyed it.
Now, let's do our hypotheticals of who you think would be the best fit for the team. So this is what we're going to do real quick. We're going to try to speed this up. We're running a little long here. Give me your shoot for the stars player. Give me your this isn't much of an upgrade player. And then give me your like, okay, that makes the most sense guy.
For the outfield, right?
Yes, outfield.
Okay, so for the outfield, let me pull these up first. Just have them in front of me. Okay. So I think the best fit outfield-wise is Joey Gallo.
Absolutely.
Because he's a great right fielder. He's got a very nice arm. He'd fit in perfectly. Home run hitter, bring some runs home, which is something that we're lacking because Chappie has not been Chappie this year. Also, Sean Murphy is very streaky. So just someone who can
and a lefty.
And a lefty. So someone who could. So then you move Olsen to the 3-hole. Gallo hits 4. Mitch Moreland hits 5. And that's just a lot of power in the middle lineup. You have to trust that hopefully one of those guys is going to get at least a double to bring some runs home. And I just feel really confident about the middle of the order. And Ramon and Jed leading it off. Especially the way Jed's playing again. Jed's so streaky this year. Isn't that kind of weird?
He's a 36, 37-year-old player, of course.
I know, but he's always been Mr. Consistent. Anyway, I digress. I would say, so then the second one was like Pipe Dream.
No, Joey Gallo. No, the first one's the Pipe Dream. And I think Joey Gallo is the Pipe Dream.
I think, oh, really? I think that's the best fit. I said the best fit.
Well, more, okay. Well, yeah. Well, my argument would be I don't see the Rangers trading in division for the third time, and then they're also trading their best player in the division.
Their best player that's off contract in a year, and if you can get some interesting prospects out of it, like I don't know who their shortstop is now, but like Logan Davidson or like
Isaiah Conifalafa.
They could use some more arms too. And you really loaded up that trade package with prospects that are going to be up in a year or two. Then I think that intrigues them. I mean, it's not just the 3 in the past year and a half. We kind of have a history of trading with the Rangers quite a bit.
So who's your pipe dream then? Now I'm interested.
Byron Buxton's my pipe dream. I don't think that happens.
Oh, yeah, that's a fucking.
I don't think there's a fucking shot in hell that the Twins in general trade him. He's kind of
well, no, I don't know if you saw the story, but they're currently working on extending him, and if they can't work on an extension with him, they're going to trade him. So
he's been like the face of their actually the future face of their franchise was going to be the future face of their franchise for like 5 years now. He can't stay
healthy.
I know.
Oh, you want to know a really crazy stat?
I saw. I fuck with that.
You want to know a really crazy stat would be is since 2018, Aaron Judge has played more games than Mike Trout.
Really?
Yeah, wild, right? And then
Mike Trout, Byron Buxton, you mean?
No. I'm just saying that. I was just speaking of players who get hurt more than we think they do. It's because Mike Trout. It's because he has no neck. But so who is your just don't do it player then?
Starlin Marte does not fit our team at all. That would be really weird. I would not understand that whatsoever. Because we don't need speed. He's a great contact hitter, but in the Coliseum, how much does that do you? Yeah, that would be weird. I would be upset about that. But everybody else on the market, I could, it would be like, all right, cool. Like Mitch Haniger, Cole Calhoun, Eddie Rosario, Charlie Blackmon, all these guys. Like, I'd be like, all right.
Stop naming people off because I want to make sure you don't cover my guy.
Okay, I'll stop. Oh, but I'm like, that makes us better. All right. So what's your best fit?
So I want to get to the best fit last. Okay. Because I think it actually was I think this is going to happen. Okay. Pipe Dream's Chris Bryant. He plays a ton of outfield and then third base, give Chappie a day off. But contract year, go all in.
But the thing is, he could be an interesting package with Craig Kimbrell. So that's why I don't think it's completely out of like the.
You're just gonna have to give up a lot.
You would, but could be worth a lot.
It could, yeah. And I think I totally agree. I think this is kind of the year you really last year should have been the year to go all in, but I think this year they kind of need to.
Yeah.
Just don't do it because it's going to be more of the same. It's Robbie Grossman. Lefty bat. He was really hot for a second with the Tigers, but it's like he's going to come to Oakland. It's going to be the same exact thing that we already have a 4 or it might be a little bit worse. But I think the player that, after kind of looking over it, makes the most sense, and there's a history there and all this other stuff, Andrew Benintendi. He's actually been playing some pretty good ball with the Royals lately. He's got that championship
season, respectively, I would say.
Yeah, he's got that championship pedigree as a part of that 18 Red Sox team. He's a lefty. He can play left and right field. And the A's and Royals recently have a trade history together. So to me, that makes the most sense in terms of like what moves would the A's actually make. And then it makes the most sense for that lineup because they need some lefty bats out there. They need another reliable outfielder. And there was already some rumors about that trade going down in the offseason, but I think now's the time you got to do it. And obviously that would
10 home runs, pretty solid. Yeah.
Yeah, he was hurt for a minute, but
and he's on contract till 2023, so we get 2 more seasons out of him.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, okay, if this is not the year to blow it up, then, and I'm pretty sure he's got a pretty team friendly deal.
Have you seen him in rumors and whatnot? He's not. He's up for arbitration every year, pretty much.
He was rumored this past offseason before he got traded to Kansas City, and it makes sense because look what happens if Canada leaves, then cool, he's gonna be the everyday left fielder for the next couple of years.
But I haven't seen him in in-season rumors. That's why this is like kind of coming out of left field.
Yeah, but just because there's no, I'm starting that rumor.
Okay. I don't know yet.
I'm starting it. Yeah. We got almost 500 Twitter followers. You're goddamn right. We got that weight. Hey, well. Anyways, I think it's time for a break.
Yeah. All right. We'll take a break. We're gonna come back. We'll talk about the stadium, and then we'll stop chowing your ear off. So stick around, and we'll be right back.